Welcome, Jets fans. Sorry for the late responses and videos. Just a lot of editing for videos and such is a lot of work for myself. But to the prior to that, with the Jets two dubbing wins straight so far against Bengals, coming throughout the bye week, being the Browns, it was just like, I was there to watch, and everything was just so much just a promise. But of course, we have some things to talk about with our offense and defense needs to be proved on when it comes down to Thursday night against the Patriots. So, first things foremost, the biggest loss that we have disadvantage this game and throughout a couple games straight is Scare Wilson. Unfortunately, he has a knee problem or MCL sprain or something like that. I forgot to remember, but he's gonna be out for this game and for sure like 3 weeks, 4 weeks prior. Um, it's gonna be a lot of setback. So persistent time. We rather keep his health phase going. Rather than just force him to come out within the time. If he's 100% healthy, then put him out there. Um, it's very risky for having your legs risking for football games like this. So, um, but of course, with Justin Fields still working his actually throws and passing, he needs to really improve. Just get those passes going. It just it wasn't pretty. Also, when it comes down to the Browns game, you know, I'm not sure what the Patriots defense will have, but they had like almost persistent top 10 defenses out there. They had A and 2. So they could do pretty much anything else to have against us at Gillette Stadium, which notably the cursed stadium we haven't won in years, or just only once when we last beat Belichick and his only last game in the NFL. So that needs to be changed to where we need to at least be competitive with our division rival, of course. So you know, with him controlling the ball needs to be proof. Like, it just looks like he's not our persistent quarterback we looked at. So he needs to reamp that shit. Just throw the ball wherever he sees open, because he lost some routes that are open. Clint Gabriel himself, and I believe it was like Isaiah Williams was open too. Like, it was some other guys that were really open from that last game, and needs to be proved on to he needs to have persistent vision when it comes down to the Patriots defense. You know, um, as long as he just has that happening, man, nothing else happen. I mean, of course, with the line of scrimmage pass protection, of course, with the own line, we need that as probable as possible. And with Brees Hall running the ball in, with he has an open gap, a good ass passing routes with on their screen or bubble route. He does his best, and I've been seeing a lot. So, with that mindset for the controlling offense, that's where we at least make scoring possible in each run. So, let's score a touchdown first fucking drive. Hopefully, but maybe likely not. But it has not happened since last year, last game against the Dolphins. It's just like it needs to change. No field goals, no scoring, touchdown. Let's do a touchdown. Okay, so that's it for that for the offense. But defense, man, with that rookie Thomas is out for concussion protocol from the last game. It was expected. It just, it was just concussion is a serious thing for most NFL goers. Just staying healthy, staying mindset. Like they see they're okay. Like just wait for a bit, because it takes time with a health condition head wise. It's part of our life to see things, do things, and everything. So with process with Thomas, it has to hold back for a minute. So pretty sure he'll come back within next 2 weeks. But But of course, with Will McDonald still questionable this game, hopefully he stay, is going to be starting. He was so amazing the last game against the Browns, breaking down of a line scrimmage, pressing down. He got like 4 or 5 sacks, counting. Like, guy is a monster. Where is he at throughout the games? Except for that one block field goal return touchdown was so crazy. But yeah, so a lot expecting him to at least better time he comes back. If not, then is what it is. Just hope he comes back for the setback injury from next game. But of course, I haven't talked this from the last long ago about the news with the trades market and such with Quentin Williams and with Sauce Gardner surprisingly being gone for our team. There's nothing. I mean, we still had depth for defensive line. It's just that we haven't been persistent in pressuring for the past few games. And just like with Quentin Williams being gone, he was more like a heavy pressure guy. We traded for the Cowboys for first rounders and stuff, steals. He was a hella great guy too. Probably example that he put down points on, or put down downs, for us to, compete on any offense that we're facing, it's a certain loss, but, we still had a little depth for that. For corners wise, our secondary, I'm still not happy where we're at. I'm still happy that, Sauce Gardner has to be, a big trade such in state early, and we sign a contract with him 4 years for amount of money he earns. I just don't think that's the right call for cutting him out unless, it was the right time to trade for much value. You want to have more players, more healthy, more young players, so on. But mind off about that. So wisely with defense, always comes down with a play call. We always have like one setback of a safety that's like all alone in the backside of the field, and all of a sudden, touchdown. Why? Because we had open gap for the back end zone. That's why, So Steve Wilkes and some other players, we had to register our man-and-man coverage and our field coverage. Because the way I saw against the Browns and such other games, it's just been very, 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 very repetitive. And it's just, I hate to see that again, just losing that much coverage for not fixing the obvious outcomes when it comes to lead to that. We just had to, fix that. Fix that. Look what the field slot is in the grass field, and what your man coverage is. We have like a cross routes. They're gonna look at that. They're gonna look at that like, hey, this guy's gonna handle him. While you, other hand, go to this cross route, and obviously you gotta be throwing the ball better. Yeah. Our middle linebackers can do shit, but blitz down. We got to organize our playbook. So that's the only thing we needed to work on for defense. But yeah, such wise, even though it's been long reaction, long predictions, I will say to this, and with the past 2 games, I haven't been very making videos, but to this date, and I want to at least be productive in my videos on time, which because the last 2 games I didn't have like a a pre-game prediction and thoughts, and from those 2 games ago throughout the bye week, they won. And then I'm making this video, hope it's not cursed or anything. It will be as accountability of win. So like I said, all this, spooky crap, and that's all this. I'm trying not to think about. Hopefully that's not to make the curse again. I think the Jets will get this dub. Not saying that, it'll be perfect. I think that they'll upset the Patriots just for one win, just one at Gillette. Even though I say in my delusional thoughts, but I think with what we have so far, depending on Justin Fields will have control this time, which it's up to him against the Patriots because with Drake May and of course Stephon Diggs and Trayvon Henderson is still like in the persistent runs. Just we gotta have like defense to stop it. And we won't have Sauce Gardner, and we might have like shit field when it comes to it. So but all I can say is, oh yeah, and also just to let you know, we need to make a turnover interception. It has not happened throughout the season. So we need to at least to make a turnover from against Drake May, or some other defensive player who has a carry ball and strip down. We haven't had that once. We only had once against the Broncos game, I believe, or I guess. But it has to stop. But oh yeah, against Bengals too. I forgot. So 2 so far. But but yeah. So like I said, the Jets will win. I think it'll be like probably at least 20-23, just give or take. So, but yeah. So that's all I can say for now. I'll be right off the bat making my reactions once the game's over tonight. So hopefully everything will be as promising and no curses. That when it comes to my videos, I make games and predictions. Doesn't lead to the Jets lose. So hopefully I'll stick with that mindset and hopefully they win. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys the post game.